your rough, rugged, and raw, nigga.
Alexander, there have been some allegations about his past behavior, criminal behavior, so on and so forth. Let's take a look at that before we get into what this topic is about here today.
Activist in Dallas remains behind bars this morning. Dominic Alexander is charged with 2 counts of family violence. And new at 11, we've learned the Dallas County District Attorney is recusing himself from prosecuting the case. That's because Alexander campaigned for DA John Creuzot in the last election. A judge will be asked to appoint an outside prosecutor now.
CBS 11's Andrea Lucia has more now on Alexander's arrest and his response.
Because you continue to come after us.
A prominent activist who has often clashed with Dallas police over claims of brutality, Dominic Alexander is now facing his own allegations of violence. He was arrested on 2 charges of assault involving the mother of his 2 children. A judge issued an emergency protective order barring him from making contact with the victim.
You are not to go to or within 500 feet of the residence or place of employment of the person listed in your order.
According to a source familiar with the investigation, the victim accused Alexander of slamming her head against a wall and, in a separate incident, choking her. Hours before the arrest, he posted on social media writing, "Thank you, everyone, for your love and prayers for me and the victim, for God will direct our path."
And that was Andrea Lucia reporting. We should tell you that we've just learned within the last half hour that Alexander has posted bond on his assault charges, but he still has outstanding warrants for some other violations that he'll have to pay before he's released from jail. We've also learned late last night that he has a warrant out of Arlington for family violence in that city. That case involves the same victim, and it dates back to 2015. Police records show the woman accused him at that time of pushing her multiple times during an argument. Alexander was charged with a Class C misdemeanor. He did post bond for that charge this morning. Our Steve Pickett is following the story today, the case very closely. He's going to have an update for us coming up on CBS 11 News at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock.
So this is a man with clear domestic violence tendencies here, and if you notice in his statement, he referenced God here. Thank you for everyone for your love and prayers for me and victim, for God will direct our path. So what you notice here, which is very interesting, this is an update from his Facebook page here. Breaking news, NJN Legal Advocacy Fund files lawsuit against the state of Texas. Texas has passed a law forcing every public school classroom to display the 10 Commandments, a direct attack on the separation of church and state. Let's be clear, this is not about restoring faith. This is about government control. This is about pushing Trump's Bible into Texas schools as people of faith, as defenders of democracy, and as protectors of our children. We say no, this law violates the Constitution, the Texas Constitution, the 14th Amendment, Americans with Disabilities Act. And just weeks ago, a federal court overturned the same law in Louisiana. Our classrooms are not churches. Our pulpits are not for political propaganda. Our faith belongs to us, not the state. We'll see you in court, Governor Greg Abbott. And here's an article from the Christian Post here. I guess it draws interest for them. Carmelo Anthony advocate sues over 10 Commandment displays that teach slavery is acceptable, according to him. That's what they're saying here. And you'll see down here, and let's see if I can find it. Alexander, according to the suit, is concerned that by posting this text, the state sends the message to his children that slavery is acceptable, which directly violates core spiritual beliefs and civil rights that Minister Alexander teaches his children to value. And one of those concerning the lawsuit states is that some of the text within SB 10's version of the 10 Commandments treats some people as chattel. The lawsuit did not provide any additional context, but the concern appears to stem from the bill's quotation of Exodus 20:17, which states, Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his cattle, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And that is very interesting that Dominic Alexander would be against that, considering that Carmelo Anthony is being accused of coveting someone else's, the comfort of someone else's tent to shield himself from the rain there. And so I guess it's kind of fitting that he would be against the coveting of someone else's property there. The plaintiff also includes Christian ministers, Islamic leaders, and parents with children in the Dallas, DeSoto, and Lancaster school district. They argue that the law's specific Protestant-leaning version of the Ten Commandments conflicts with their beliefs and excludes other faiths such as Hinduism, Buddhism, or Judaism. One of the suit's plaintiffs, Bishop Gerald Weatherall, expressed concerns in the complaint, stating that he believes in the autonomy of the church and the divine authority of the Holy Spirit to guide the hearts and minds of believers, not the coerce and hand of the state. The government should govern, the church should minister. Weatherall was quoted in the complaint, anything else is a threat to the soul of both our democracy and our faith. Alexander has his own criminal history there. It says, the Ten Commandments are a symbol of our law and moral conduct with both religious and secular significance, which provide valuable lessons for students. One of the defenders said, Krauss said in a statement Friday, First Liberty was grateful to support these important bills. So here we have the First Liberty Institute, which called groups like the NGAN, and the ACLU and Freedom from Religion and others who oppose SB 10 radical and incredibly well funded. And there is a thing, if you remember back to Carmelo Anthony's initial press conference where Dominic Alexander was speaking, he probably spoke more than the parents, and he kept talking about the school district. And I caught that, and I found it to be interesting. I said, why does he keep focusing on the school district when the school district really has nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony's case? And in this instance, you can tell that he has bigger fish to fry here. He's going after the school system, and typically what you'll find here is that these people go after the deep pockets, and the school system is typically where the deep pockets are. And Carmelo Anthony is just more or less a pawn in his agenda. As you can see, part of his agenda is against Trump and Greg Abbott and the Republicans in general. And he is a Democrat soldier here. And as you can see, again, Carmelo Anthony is being used as political fodder for the bigger Democratic agenda here, going after Trump and Texas state constitution, whatever, trying to include the Ten Commandments into the church, into a school setting. And again, it's very, very interesting when you consider that this man considers himself a minister. Blacks consider themselves typically to be very religious. And here they are pushing very hard, and someone is funding this guy to keep the Ten Commandments out of the school there. Once again, thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the like button and hope you share this with someone. We're going to be covering this Carmelo case from all angles as it proceeds to court. Thank you for joining.